afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. It's February 13th, Valentine's Day Eve, and as you know, we're going to be covering the mystery shop in a box today, the rest of the story. The development team, for those who aren't aware, is Robin Farrow. Robin's a Chevy BDM in the Philly zone. Daryl Dominguez, he's now a Chevy BDM in the, I guess, Denver zone, or whatever that is. And he flipped over from BDM. Frank Zupan, Buick GMC in the Philly market, and much bigger than that, goes into a lot of other areas, but I believe it's called the Philly market. So that's pretty cool. And I was proud enough to work with this outstanding crew. So a little bit of a setup for it. You know, the OpMax experience is kind of good. Hey, if you guys could mute your lines and just unmute them if you're going to talk, I'd sure appreciate that. Be most helpful. Thank you. So Robin and Daryl came to us from Opportunity Max. That's best way I describe it is another business unit within Maritz. It's since been rebranded, but for quite a while they were hired to provide consultation on CRM usage, etc. Robin, help me out there. Am I giving that its due justice? How would you describe the role that you and Daryl played?
Yeah, exactly. We were quote unquote CRM coaches. So we were remote workers that would provide consultative process approach using your CRM, improving metrics within CRM. And one of the tools that we used was mystery shopping the dealerships and presenting the results with the dealer.
Oh, thank you. So the mission we had was to adapt the OpMax process to our world. It's a bit of a different. Ours is probably more integrated with a wider set of activities. And as I've told all the other groups to please be patient because it's a work in progress. But I got to tell you, at this point, it's pretty refined, and we're probably about at the 10-yard line to bring this thing home. And you can absolutely, as you'll see, test drive it now. We have probably 8 to 12 people that I'm aware of who have already gone out and they're doing a practice test drive, if you will. So that's pretty good stuff to think about. What we're going to do is I'm going to walk through a sample OpMax presentation. Now, when you see those slides, Frank and Ron Kleinfelter are building a slide template. I think, Frank, what do you think? Am I pushing it to say we can have it ready by tomorrow? Or when do you think you got in the factory, you guys can have that thing out on the streets for everybody?
Well, let's put it this way. We'll let the team members with the intelligent questions QC it and see if I need to do anything else, because as far as I'm concerned, it's ready to go.
Groovy. Good. So we should have that, ready to rock and roll. But when you look at the OpMax presentation, they actually had a team behind the scenes who would pretty these slides up. So it's pretty elaborate. And then Robin's going to wrap up later with a real basic level one that didn't go very well for the dealer. So Robin kind of said, well, why don't we stop this now and fix all these problems we discovered right away. So you kind of see both extremes, and then we're going to have something kind of in the middle for you. I'm going to cover the 3 W's, why are we doing it, what we have to do when we do it. I'll also cover the suggested process for BDMs with cautionary notes. Mr. Zupan is going to go through the support materials. We have several how-to guides. They're available right now. The Mystery Shop scorecard, good to go. We'll tweak that. We'll make it better and better. And Robin put together a very impressive how to initiate a mystery shop. And Robin, I've said that even on the presentations that you weren't with us. I'm not doing that to kiss up to you right now. It is impressive, and it's very helpful. We got great feedback. And then I'll turn over to Robin, and she's going to talk to us about how to present, some thoughts on how to present the results, and a recent real-world example. And then we'll open it up to Q&A toward the end. So we'll go from there. So just as you go through this, as you observe this, just kind of get a sense of it. Again, this was a Honda dealer up in Portland, Maine, back in 2016, a little over 4 years ago, that Daryl did while he was with OpMax, and they were exceptional. They performed at a very high level. So basically, he set it up that the plan was to go from the 4th to the 11th of 2016. Daryl, don't get into the weeds on this. Just get a sense. We're anticipating you folks doing it. It seems like they have kind of a label that describes what's going on, the nomenclature, if you will, and then screenshots of where it's at. So this is Daryl setting up his lead submission, what he was doing, all those kinds of things. This is his alias, Lucas Danielson, very creative, that kind of thing. And you'll see that we'll talk to you about doing that, getting the multiple pseudonyms, if you will, fake names, fake emails, fake phone numbers, etc., the vehicle he's looking for, and so on. So pretty cool. And then, again, the related screenshots. First quality response, it's a big part of the grading, as you'll see in a few minutes. Frank will go over that. And he just basically looked at, did they hit the hours, the street address? There were a few typos in there that he discovered, so that was, something that he just kind of touched on. Again, the screenshots, Kristen Fattar responded to him pretty good, very quality, and they had very professional templates that they were responding with, and I believe they were provided by OpMax. The next response here, another one, short-term follow-up, the date received, the time since lead sent, the day, again, who sent it, and here's what we got back from them. Pretty good stuff, very impressive, again, as you go forward. So again, and they just kept building informational pieces, more about the dealer, wasn't redundant, and it just kept continuing to add information to it. And then response 4 here, again, continued on the short-term follow-up. Another one received on the 6th in the morning, 2 days since the last lead was sent. Wayne Hill, in this case, sent out an information brochure, pretty good stuff. A little bit about their service department, just keeping the touches going and again, mixing it up a little bit as they go. Another one here, January 6th at 2:45. Again, Chris followed up even more information, pretty good. I'm sorry, this was the brochure. I jumped ahead there. He put in there, as you continue to research your vehicles, I thought you might find this brochure for the new 16 Honda Pilot helpful, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty cool, expanding it on and building on the information. Continuing on, now we got Jeff Donovan. As you can see, they get different folks in the mix, get a sales manager involved in there, more commentary, very good stuff. And again, keep moving forward. They just keep adding to it. Very good quality responses. Keep informing about the dealerships, the why buy here's, all those good things. And again, that short-term follow-up. Did you hear from my manager? Right here, a little note that following up. Of course, he knows the answer to that from the store before he submits it. And Nicholas Samson sent some more information out. Service you can trust, a little bit more about the service department. And then right here, Michael McPherson, they're getting closer and closer. Now, as you'll hear in a few minutes, the strategy with OpMax was not to respond to the leads, just check out their follow-up process with not responding. So this is what they're doing. They're just relentless coming at them, but it's quality information, not annoying, if you will, redundant information. And then this is the summary that he provided. And in this case, that short-term follow-up, they did quite well, and all he had to offer really was that to maybe offer a test drive appointment and correct those grammatical errors. Overall, between the initial follow-up and the short-term follow-up, they got 83 out of 100. So Daryl did a nice outbrief. They went through this. They had pretty good news for him, so it worked out quite well. So again, just to give you a sense of where that OpMax piece was, we're going to have our own branding and our own look, and you can adapt it. You'll hear us all say that. This is a suggested, not this slide format, but what we're presenting is suggested, like we do with most things, make it your own and adapt it to your style. So let's look at the 3 W's of the mystery shop. First, why? Why would we do this? What's the purpose? Well, obviously the drive growth data that we look at helps us identify the current state of a dealership's lead management process. That data specifically identifies strengths and deficiencies. That data also reveals the need to analyze CRM and follow-up processes. So I'm up in Detroit, and I was in one of the Sarah dealerships today. Buick GMC dealer was one of our BDMs, and they're doing a really good job. They're a very professional dealership, but they do have some sporadic follow-up processes. So the gentleman I was working with today, well, it was Jim Hurtwald, and him and I were talking about down the road probably doing a mystery shop with these folks to give them kind of evidence on where the process may be getting choppy or breaking down. The second W is the what. What are we assessing and what prep is needed? The scorecard that Frank will show, it's broken down as you just saw with Daryl. We're using the OpMax format of first quality response, follow-up responses, voice responses, and text responses. Pause it there for a second. A little backstory on the team. So Robin and Frank and I are all in the same area. Frank Zupan comes out of dealership experience, and he's really gotten into this, and he's done several mystery shops here very recently. He'll certainly tell you about it. And Daryl came out east, and he was working with me for about a week. So while I was here, him and I wrapped up our last dealership visit. Robin was at Chevrolet Dover, that you know and love, obviously. You were with us. We had some lunch, got some good sandwiches, and then we listened to the story that explained how it worked. What was very interesting was they had a kind of a standard scorecard for OpMax that Robin and Daryl both had. And since they become BDMs, each of their scorecards has evolved in a different way, which was cool. Robin made it work for her, and Daryl made it work for him. So what we did was then with Frank's input, my input, the four of us collaborated. We came up with kind of a generalized suggested scorecard that you'll see in a minute. What prep is needed? You need to create fictitious email address and Google Voice number. I probably should change those to plurals. I think they suggest Robin, in your heyday, how many aliases did you have going at any given time?
Like probably right now I have 5 different fake Gmail accounts that I manage, and I use,
Okay.
I cycle through.
Good. So, you got to have bench strength there, if you will. You kind of bounce it around a little bit. So create those. Make sure you coordinate with the dealer. That's vital. We don't want to, no sneak attacks, if you will. And then benchmark that current performance. These highlights that we're all, fighting to get through, because that's really, I've been up in Detroit all week up here in Southfield, and I've been in a couple of different conference calls and meetings, and these are vital. Those highlights are vital. It's going to keep this project on a strategic level. So this really can lead to a tremendous highlight. You get that benchmark performance, show where the deficiency is in that process, whether you're using days to sale or whatever the case is, and then come up with an empirical measurement, and then do your work, do the mystery shop, identify it, help them fix their issues, and hopefully that 8 to 12 or whatever, 8 to 14 or 15 to 30, whatever it is they got a problem at, hopefully that improves a bit. So that'll be a great success story for us to promote. And then finally, when, and this is based on the OpMax formula, when should I conduct the process? Say initiate the mystery shop during normal business hours of the dealership, Monday to Friday. The duration of the mystery shop exercise is typically 14 to 30 days as they go in. Robin, any quick comments on that, your experience with that 14 to 30 day formula? How did that generally go for you?
That's usually reasonable, but you'll set that expectation with the dealer when you're talking to them. So depending on where you identify in their days to sale report, where they might need some help, is going to pretty much lay out how long you need to evaluate them. So it's a case-by-case basis, dealer-by-dealer basis. Generally, I find that most of mine are somewhere in the 30 to 45 day range, and then it kind of helps me set up my next visit within the next 45 days to say, okay, we're going to sit down 45 days from now, and we're going to review the results. Good.
Thank you. Okay, so the process here, walk through this. Robin, I'm going to let you, how are you doing? Okay, Robin's in a vehicle, and she's doing this, I guess, on your iPhone, but you got a visually a good look where you can go through this process with the cautionary notes?
Sure, yeah, so I could see. So like I said, the drive growth data, it's really going to be telling in and set you up for success to ask for permission for this mystery shop. And I think that's the key, is we really want to get the dealers buy-in and make sure we're asking them, is it okay to start and initiate this mystery shop? So, you're going to definitely discuss and strategize with the dealer, let them know how long this is going to take, what it entails, that you will be sending in a lead from the dealer's website, to start the mystery shop, and kind of lay it out what it's going to look like. So there are some tools and resources we've put together to help you create a fictitious profile. And this just means you basically are going to set up a free account, whether it's Gmail or mail.com, as well as the Google Voice number. So that's going to be key that you have that set up prior to the mystery shop. And then you're going to initiate the shop from the dealer's website. And we do that because we definitely don't want to go to a third-party website where they may be paying on a per lead basis and charge the dealer for sending them a lead. Because at the end of the day, it's not a fruitful lead. I mean, it's going to help the dealer, but it's not going to result in a sale. So we certainly don't want to charge the dealer or have them spend any extra money. We're also going to make sure when we start the mystery shop, we're going to pick an in-stock unit. And generally, I like to put a comment or a question or something in that lead form, that lead submission form, that's going to make them that they need to do something, need to answer a question. We want to make sure that they're looking at this information and they're addressing all of the customer's concerns if they do put that in the initial lead. We definitely also, too, a couple quick cautionary notes. Prior to sending in the lead, you want to spend a little time on the dealer's website, navigate around, click on several vehicles in stock. Maybe you look at the used vehicles, look at the staff page. We've found that in our travels that some of these BDC managers and internet managers, they're pretty tech savvy. They're pretty digitally, inclined, and they can actually see your click path from the time they visit your website to lead submission. So we want this mystery shop to feel as authentic as possible, because likely a real buyer is going to spend some time and look at several areas and look at your choices on your website. So definitely take that 30 seconds and kind of click around and spend some time on their website. As you're documenting and gathering the dealer's responses, so this could take 30 days if that's how long the shop is going to take. You don't want to respond, as Kevin said, you don't want to respond. The goal of this is to increase engagement and drive more appointments. We don't want to sell the car, we want to sell the appointment. So we want to find out where in the process, why are we not getting engagement? Why are customers not responding back? So is it the quality of our messaging? Is it the spam? Maybe our messages aren't getting to the customer because we're going to spam. So these are kind of the things that you'll be able to identify in the process. And then at the end, you'll compile the results and put together a scorecard with results and show that and share that with the dealer. And then, of course, in your follow-up visit, you'll be able to outbrief with the dealer with comments and anything that you want to talk about to help facilitate the conversation.
Thank you, Robin. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to turn over to Frank in just a minute, but just to give you a heads up, we've put together a bunch of materials, and it seems like every time we meet, people come up with additional ideas, so we'll do what we can. But there's a data worksheet Frank's going to go over. We have how-to guides on setting up the accounts, how to set up Google Voice, how to do screen grabs. We just added the Convert More Leads document. So anybody who's around back then, there's 6 separate Convert More Leads documents. They're really great. We have a scorecard ready to go, and again, that instructional video. It looks like this. When you click on, lay your cursor on Drive Growth, then the mystery shop in a box, click on that, and these are all the documents that we have at this time. So I'm going to turn it over to Frank, and he's going to walk you through these one at a time. And give me a second here, Mr.
Yeah, open up your docs. There we go. Okay, all right. What you're seeing here is an old version of the mystery shop data worksheet. I basically cleaned it up a little bit more. I've eliminated the file name, file location, and just put in there as notes. I've added more tasks in there so that you can have room to make comments. If you scroll down a little bit, Kevin, you can see there's VDP information, email response, phone call, voicemail, notes. You got areas that you can use to write your notes for when you're putting together your PowerPoint presentation. It's very, very useful. So of course you're going to put your dealership name, the VAC in there. And can you scroll back down just a little bit, Kevin? See if this one has it. No, this does not have it in here. The new one has your fake name used, your fake phone number that you use, and your email address. As what Kevin and Robin were alluding to earlier, you're going to need multiple pseudo identities down the road. Here's a way that you can go in and document what you have. I'm I keep track of everything, both paper and electronic, and it'll go into the dealership's files. So it's a good tool.
We'll have that available tomorrow, Frank. I'll get it to David Kohler. He'll replace that new one with this one. Replace this one with the new one.
All right, go to yeah, there we go. Now here's how to set up email accounts, step-by-step instructions. We've got YouTube videos for you to watch, but I'm telling you, it's so easy. We've got 2 suggestions, Gmail and mail.com. Myself, I personally use mail.com, 2 reasons. 1, it's not associated to a cell phone number, and 2, it keeps me separated from my regular business Gmail, so I'm not getting things messed up in there. As you scroll down, you can see there's no cost to you. With mail.com, you've got 4 entries that you have to do. In Gmail, I believe there's 5 or 6. 6. Real simple. Go to the next one. Okay, Google Voice. I'll tell you, when we first started talking about this, this was the one area that I thought I was very uncomfortable with. But thanks to Robin and Daryl, they talked me right through it, and I had my Google Voice number within minutes. It is so easy to do. If I can do it, everybody else can do. If not, there's the video again and step-by-step instructions. And again, does not cost you a thing. This is another great tool. Anybody that uses Microsoft Windows has access to the snippet tool. I'm pretty sure that in the Mac world they have something very similar, but we just went with the PC video. It's a great tool. You can capture just about anything you want. You can even copy it and place it in your document. And there's all the ways of doing it right through there. Okay, what you're looking at here is an older version of the we have added underneath the email first quality response a category for my rewards. Do they mention that at all? It's going to be a yes or no on that. But what you have here, I've gone and automated. For example, that second line where it talks about subject line includes dealer and vehicle requested, you can have 10 points max. Well, what if they didn't mention anything about the vehicle? In my opinion, it's going to be a 5. So you would type a 5 in where the 10 is, and it's going to change it to yellow, and it's also going to change the total score at the bottom of that category. Now, anything that says deduct 10 points, as you can see in the examples, they have dashes in front of them. So if you're going to change anything like that, make sure you put the dash in front, and it will change it to red instead of being at the white filled in block where it shows 0. It'll change it automatically for you. And then when you save this, of course, you're going to change the dealership. Put the dealership name up there, the BAC, and save it as a PDF file so that you can incorporate it into the slideshow. Okay,
hey,
Kevin.
Frank, you want to go through those slides that you came up with for the template?
Give me the screen.
You got it, brother. All right, it's coming your way, man.
Okay, I got that part. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so what Ron and I did yesterday, we went through and we built a generic slideshow of which I incorporated one of my mystery shops on. I'm using this as a tool for the BDMs to use when they're building their presentation. So again, you know, it's pretty straightforward. You're just filling in the appropriate information. For example, dealership BAC and data presentation. On this one, I've titled it Vehicle Display Page. You want to capture the date and time that you searched throughout the website, chose the vehicle, and here I'm showing the vehicle that I chose. Here is the call to action button that you use. In this case, the only one that they had out there, which I'm going to probably write them up for, is a lease. I didn't want a lease, but I'll put that in there. But here, again, submit the time and date, your fake first name and last name, the email used, the phone number used, what questions did you ask, and then the key part. We all know how to duplicate slides. So basically, you're just going to duplicate the slide if you need to for this type of information. The next slide that comes up is the email response. Same basic information. Answer the questions, duplicate it as necessary, and put your image in on the right-hand side. Right now, for this particular dealership, I'm at 8 emails and 6 voicemails, no text. So that'll be in my comments. The next slide is set up for the phone. Basically the same information going through. You're repeating yourself over and over again. Your next one is just like I said, this is the PDF file that you've saved from your scorecard. Just insert it in place. You've got all the information in there, and I even put some notes down in the bottom on how to insert new photos. And then your last slide, your summary. Robin says this in the past, always put something positive in there. One of the dealers that I'm doing a mystery shop on had a great video of why purchase at that particular store. Loved it. It was awesome. I just wish they did everything else. As far as reaching out. They just have not done that. So that's where the room for improvement areas would go in through here, as I've only captured 1 email and 1 voicemail in the last 10 days.
That's great work, Frank. Thank you.
On that note, I'm going to pass it back over to Kevin. You're going to take
Thank you,
control.
brother. I got it, man. I got it. Thank you so much, Frank, for that. That's awesome. So
Frank,
as you can
that's
see,
awesome.
that's in
I'm so excited to use that.
Isn't that great, Robin?
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin,
Yeah,
can we
go
ask
ahead.
Frank a question real quick?
Sure.
Sure. Fire away, brother. Fire away.
The video that you're talking about that the dealer used, is that something you would be willing to share?
I'll tell you what, at this point, no, because I don't want to tell you what dealership I'm having the problem with. Basically,
Okay.
I will describe what it is. It was just, welcome to so-and-so Motors. This is what we're all about. The individual that was talking was very pleasant, introduced the general manager, a couple of the sales consultants, service manager, and at the end, she basically said, welcome to Anytime Motors. It was just very pleasant. It was a very short video, and I really felt at home.
So down the road, Frank, you'll be ready. I mean, Ann just expressed an interest in it too. It sounds like a nice format. So we can talk about that when you feel it's appropriate to release it. How's that sound?
Yeah, I would prefer to do it, once I get done with the mystery shop.
It's a nice job, Frank. You did good, man. You and Ron, good stuff, man.
No
Robin,
problem.
we're gonna have to pay him. We're gonna have to pay him a little bonus for that. I think. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure how much budget we got left, but we have to look into that.
I want another one of those sandwiches.
Yeah, with another sandwich. There you go. Another turkey sandwiches. All right. So I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Farrow, and she's going to talk about presenting the results and then walk through a very brief, hard-hitting mystery shops that she did very recently. So it's all yours, Robin.
So, we're all different BDMs. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, and we all have a different style. So we're all going to present the results essentially the same, but with our own little flair. The one thing you want to do is just be consistent with your approach. Using that scorecard and making sure that you're, putting comments and notes in and just being consistent with your presentation, and always provide a copy to the dealer. And I like to also too sometimes upload it with my activity report, so that way it's documented. So again, it's easy to refer back to. when you're going there the next time and you're looking at your previous activity report, you know, you can see all the documents that you uploaded as well. So it's good to revisit that, but provide a copy to the dealership. Like Frank said, in some cases, what I'll show you here in a second, you know, you're going to come across a mystery shop and conduct a shop that's just, you're like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Like, seriously. But you don't want to come in there and doom and gloom and kind of point out, you know, be Mr. and Mrs. Negative. There's got to be something positive, we could say. So I always like to at least provide some really good feedback and something that I like that they did in their shop. And then, of course, when you're providing and going over the results, we definitely want to provide some possible solutions to help them fix the problem, because that's what we're there, is to help them, you know, better their processes. So I think the next slide. So this is just a sample mystery shop that I started, I believe, in November. And the presentation you saw on the front end that Kevin went through from 2016. So that was like a really professionally done, really nice secret shop. It kind of laid everything out, and Frank's is awesome. I love the template that Frank put together. This is, you don't have to be that fancy. So this is kind of like low budget presentation tool, I guess. So this is kind of what I did in this particular mystery shop. This is just a Word document to get me started. So this is how I would start my mystery shops. Frank kind of put together, again, a nice worksheet for us that we can document clearly all of this information. I had just been typing it previously in a Word doc. So you can see the date that I started the shop, the alias information that I used. That's key to document, like Frank said. If you want to reshop this store in 6 months to see, you know, when they make all their changes in their mystery shop, it's probably good to go back and inspect what they expect again in 6 months. You can't use the same mystery shop name. So you definitely want to keep track of what email address and what phone number you're using, so that way you don't use the same information on the next shop, because they're going to know it's you. Obviously, you're going to document. I screenshot the vehicle that I sent the information in. If I added any comments and notes or, you know, questions to the dealer, make sure you put that in there too, so that way you can review that when you find the results. And then that snip on the bottom right, it's just the confirmation that I get to make sure that the lead went through. So I did verify that the lead went through to the dealer. Again, this is just the beginning. So that previous screen, I don't share that with the dealer. Again, that's just for me. But this is the beginning of my presentation to the dealer. So again, I'm just same as what Frank said. I'm laying out everything, showing them here's the name I used. A lot of cases, what you guys will find is you're going through this, they're going to pull up their laptop or their computer, and they're going to log into their CRM, and they're going to start looking and diving into this customer as you're reviewing it. So that way they can see what happened in their CRM. So here's the information I present. Very easy to read. And then I'm going to go into my scorecard. So I grade the 4 areas that Kevin talked about. So I'm looking at their first quality response, subsequent follow-up responses, voice, and text. So my scorecard, pretty similar to what Frank put together. And I am very straightforward with the dealer. I'm like, look, this is not, you know, this scorecard's not tied into any money. It's not, there's no SFE, there's no EBE. You're not losing any money by not having a good score. It's completely arbitrary. You know, this is just the Robin Farrow scorecard. So, but again, it's a good facilitation tool, because they're going to want to talk about what's read on the scorecard. They're going to go right to it. Hey, why didn't I score on this? What do I need to get better at? And they really just, they take the conversation and they run with it. So they start talking about it. You really don't even you kind of just sit back and let them, you know, talk to the BDC manager, talk to the other managers. Why did we not produce, or why are we red? Why are we green? So again, we go through the information. We're looking at the voice. We're looking at the text. It's pretty simple. And these are just some of the best practices. And we've developed, you know, in our scorecard, a lot of these similar things that we're grading on. And then on the last page is just comments. So just like on Frank's scorecard, we want to kind of notate things that we liked, things that maybe we want to improve upon. You know, in this case, we're not going to read through all the comments, but you know, I did this secret shop in the middle of November, and they're sending me emails with the subject line of end of summer sell down event in November. So obviously that was something I wanted to point out to the dealer and say, is this really a timely subject line, based on the seasonality. So the one thing that I did like about this dealer is, I didn't get as many voicemails as I liked, and I didn't get them in a timely manner. But the one that I did get, it was a great voicemail that he left, very engaging. It was just a lot of personality. It made me want to call back the dealer. But I said, hey, this is a great voicemail, but it might have been a little better if you hadn't waited 2 days to call me. Maybe let's put this on the, right as the lead comes in and get the customer while they're still in front of the computer. So there's just a lot of commentary and a lot of really good facilitation that these scorecards and this mystery shop is going to help you have with the dealer. You notice in mine, I didn't present all the emails that came out in the follow-up process. To be quite honest, I didn't get a whole lot of emails. In which case there wasn't a lot to share. But when I do have a secret shop that is good and I have multiple emails, what I generally do is I'll either print them out one by one and go over them, or I'll log into my email, my Gmail. I'll throw it up on the projector and show them my inbox, and then just kind of go into their folder where I've housed everything and go step by step and look at it from a customer point of view, what their emails look like in my inbox. So that's just kind of how I was doing it, but I'm looking forward to adopting our new way and trying out this new presentation tool.
Very good, Robin. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hey, so listen, what I've been doing, it works out pretty good. I'm going to just kind of do a round robin and get questions, and we can go if another question comes up. We got plenty of time. It's all good. So let me start. Gil, are you still out there? Are you still? I know you said you might run into some stuff. You still with us?
I'm still out here wrestling with the trucks.
So what do you? I know you didn't get the visuals, but how are you feeling?
All right, great. Like I say, I'm on the earlier call that I attended. I've already talked to 2 or 3 dealers, and they're very excited about it. So I'm looking forward to getting started. But I have a feeling I'm going to do it with fewer dealers initially than originally planned, because I want to make sure I do it correctly and thoroughly. But a couple of questions I had. Well, when you're setting up the email accounts, are you required to put a zip code in there? I'm concerned because I have so many different areas that I cover. How that would work.
What I've seen is if you do have I don't remember having to put a zip code in. I did for the voicemail, and I picked an area not where I live. Okay. Because everybody, like my daughter lives in Arizona and she still has a Delaware cell phone number. So what I do when I go in and I'm asking questions, when I fill out my information, I always use one of the zip codes within their AGSA as far as where I live. So it really doesn't make any difference what your area code might be or where your email is coming from.
Okay, I was more curious about the email if it required a zip code, because I cover Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee, and I want to pick zip codes that are applicable to those areas. And then the other question I had on the voicemails with Google, is there a way to download those voicemails so that you can keep the audio files?
It actually comes through. If you don't, here's my tip on that one. I never answer any phone call, no matter what. This is my purpose in life. I never answer a phone call unless there's a name associated with it. These calls that are coming in against my Google voicemail or my Google voice phone number, I never answer. It'll automatically go to your Google Mail account, in which this case going to my Merits account, and it will record it. And I don't give anybody down marks because of verbiage, because it doesn't record correctly. But at least I got a record of it coming through, and there's also a play button in that message where you can actually listen to it.
Okay,
Robin,
so
how about you? How's your experience, Robin?
So Frank, I think you meant it doesn't transcribe correctly on the screen. It records fine. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, same thing. I'll echo what Frank said. So, Google Voice is pretty cool. So you can actually, it saves all of the recorded voicemails, so you can kind of file them and play them with the dealer when you're together. Same thing with the text message. So any text that they sent to you, or hopefully they only sent you one, you know, just to opt you in, but you can review the text message as well through Google Voice. So as far as zip code, I think what you meant, yeah, so if you're sending in a lead, you just want to make sure that the zip code that you use is, yeah, obviously closer around that dealer. That's usually what I do.
Right. Yes, that's
Very
exactly it. And then on the voice recording, I just wanted to make sure we could listen to the actual recording and then download that, save that. So if the dealer said, well, what was really good about it or what was really bad, you could actually play it if we needed to.
Mhm. Yep.
Great tool. Y'all done a fantastic job putting this together. I look forward to
Thank you, Gil. Yeah, thank you, brother. Appreciate that a lot. Hey, Ann Carell, I hope you got settled in pretty good and everything. How you feeling about this? What questions and thoughts you got on this?
You know, I don't have any specific questions right now. I am quite anxious to do this. I think this is a fantastic new tool to add to the toolbox, where I'm brand new to the market that I just moved into, brand new set of dealers. You know, I'm trying to kind of get my head around how each one of their BDC operations really works beyond what the metrics are on the paper. I could see me initiating these as soon as the full toolkit's ready. So great work, great job, everybody, and thanks for bringing this to our toolbox.
Thank you, Ms. Carell. We appreciate that. Brother Drew Russ, I know you joined one earlier. I'm glad you came back. How does this strike you the second time around, and what questions, thoughts you got?
It looks great. I love all the content that was put around it. I'm ready to go with it. I'm all set up. I've got authorizations from a couple dealers to go ahead and move with it. And so this is the type of stuff that I was looking at. Now, I don't have any experience with Google Voice. And so the way that can be displayed and snipped into, you know, the presentation whenever you're given feedback, will it do a transcription of it, or are you just snipping the link so that you can play it back for them live?
No, it'll actually transcribe into per se an email in your mailbox. You'll be able to read it. You'll be able to read it, you'll be able to snip it, and then also, like Robin said, you keep it. I keep mine archived with my dealers. I can go in and open it up, even though, like I said, it doesn't transcribe completely right, but you can play the message. It has an embedded button in there that you can play.
So it just comes as almost like a link then that you can just copy into the document?
Yeah, well, you're going to still have to snip it.
Okay,
But
good.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can actually go, Drew, you can actually go to voice.google.com and then just log in with your account, and all the voicemails are right there. So you can just play them. It's almost like an email inbox, but for voicemails.
Okay. Good. Perfect.
Thanks for coming back again. We appreciate it. Miss Spencer, how are you? And thanks for coming back again. And what thoughts and do you have and questions?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys very much for putting this together. As Ann stated, it's a wonderful tool for our toolbox. And Kevin, during the initial call, I had questions, and I wanted to thank you guys for including the why and what, because those are some of my questions during the first call that I participated on, or the first webinar that we were on about this. So thank you very much for including those. I know it's pretty standard and basic why, but I like to see everything stated out. It just kind of helps me form the whole story, or formulate the whole story for me. So thank you for including those. Also wanted to ask specifically, I have a couple of dealers. They're smaller, but they're non-BDC dealers. So I had one dealer that dissolved his BDC, and we saw his days to sell unfortunately reverse. He hasn't been convinced yet to start up a BDC again. But I'm wondering if anyone has done any mystery calls with dealerships that have a BDC and a non-BDC, and if there's any comparative results for that.
I'll go to Robin on that one. Robin, have you had anything? Have you had sufficient experience to comment on that? Yes, in your BDM role.
Yes, I would answer that. I would say yes. I've mystery shopped both, knowing that the dealership one has a BDC. I've mystery shopped knowing that the salespeople handle the leads, but I do have some stores that have like a hybrid. So the BDC might do like the first couple of responses and then they kick it over to a consultant. But at the end of the day, especially if they lost the BDC and you're seeing results drop, this mystery shop is going to be a great way to showcase that there's something broken in the process. So, and that's usually the case is when the consultants handle the leads, you'll see that the follow-up gets less and less.
Good
I
point.
can piggyback on that also. The dealership that I was talking about that has the great Y shop here, that came from the BDC manager. It was an automated response. Here's the key. I know we said we only want to do this Monday through Friday during normal business hours. The general manager asked me, please, if you're going to do this, let's do it when my BDC manager isn't here. Let's do it on a Saturday. Because what happened at that point, it went to a consultant. I've heard from that consultant one time. So there's where the breakdown is. Mine is going to look kind of like the one that Robin just showed you here recently. It's not going to be very much information. And when I go back there in 3 weeks, it's probably going to be still the same. One email from the BDC manager, one voicemail from the sales consultant.
Cool, good deal. Any other questions, Kamal? Any other thoughts?
Not yet, Kevin. I thank you very much for hosting again.
Yes, ma'am. Happy to do it. Let's go around again just in case. Ann, anything else jump into your head since we've been going around, Robin?
No, I do want to see that video though. I just was coaching leadership on doing more video in their outbound responses. So, and that was actually a conversation we had about setting up that first video. But no more questions. Just need time to look over all the documents. I did poke around in community a little bit, and just ready to do this.
And your teammate, brother Daryl, he's in the dealer as we speak, but he's out there, and him and Frank and Robin have really contributed. So any of us can help out, but obviously Daryl, right on your team, can help anytime. So that's great. I'm so glad you got to join us today, Ann. I appreciate you taking time to do that. Mr. Gill, anything else before you go? Yes, ma'am. Gil, any last go-arounds? Any other thoughts?
Just one question for Robin, if she's still on. She says she leaves the scorecard with the dealer. Do you ever leave any of the documentation, like when Frank was going through the slides? Do you ever print any of that documentation out and leave that with the dealer as well?
Do you mean like the actual emails that I received?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Especially, I always ask them if they want that. In some cases they don't, because they can see that in the CRM anyway within that customer. So sometimes they're like, no, we'll just look in the CRM. In some cases, if I print them out, I'll leave behind, or they want a digital copy. It just depends on who I'm talking to. But yeah, I always offer that up.
Okay, I just wanted to see if there was a reason either to do it or not to do it. So you answered that. Thank you.
Cool. Good, Gil. Thank you too again for your time, man. Appreciate you. Drew, Russ, any last thoughts, comments after the round robin?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Kev. And thank everybody.
All right, Drew. Yes, indeedy. Ms. Kamala, any last ones? I know we just jumped off. Anything else come to mind?
Nope, I just need to sit down and spend some time with the data and the information.
Yep. Well, listen, I'll just hang with us for another 2 or 3 minutes. So a couple of things, you know, I don't know how many we've done. We'll do more if you need them. Now we have training, I guess we're now calling it the Merits Internal Huddle. It's on the 21st of February at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have John Brzezinski is going to come in and go through the dealer utilization report on My Rewards. As you know, we now have the program to date plus the calendar year to date and some other twists and turns, and I'm really looking forward to that presentation. Additionally, there's some twists and turns on a couple of the other drive growth reports. I believe Sue and I were just talking minutes before this thing started about that, so we'll probably have somebody from the RenCen go through those. Down the road, we're going to get into the lead management tool. If you're not familiar with it, there's an app. There's a lead management tool, and you get into the GM third-party leads detail report on who the customers are, if they bought from you, if they bought elsewhere, if they're not sold yet. And that should help us minimize some of these anemic GM third-party lead follow-up situations. We're also going to provide kind of a quick summary of where we're at on this. By then, we should have in pretty good shape. We'll probably bust it open in community, demo what's there. We're not going to go through this involved training, but just to get an awareness that we put a bow on it and it's ready to go, man. The business about responding, I think I've been in touch with about 8 to 12 people since we were doing this who already started. And I know, Robin, you answered the question about, you know, why don't we give them a little love and respond? But remember, we're trying to see, because some of these folks are going to punt and stop after 2 or 3 contacts. So that's pretty vital. And the spam piece, we're going to have, I think there's an article called 24 Tips on how to minimize spam. Robin, could you describe the tool you were talking about when we were getting ready to come on today with the spam?
The website, you mean? That?
Yeah, they can do a test drive on or do sampling on it, if you will.
So yeah, like the big thing is, I mean, obviously we want to measure the quality of the engagements in this mystery shop, but number one, we also want to make sure that these engagements are getting to the customer and they're not going to spam consistently. There's just a website that I use. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but you can basically run their email templates through this, send it to this email address that will then kick back a report to you and basically tell you how likely that email is to be able to, how likely it is to be sent to spam. So it'll give you indications of where in that template things need to change. If the subject line is a little shady and it looks like, you know, there's a high likelihood of spam, it will call that out and tell you what you need to change. So there's a lot of different sites out there. Some are paid, some are not. Obviously, this one I'm using is free, but I'll share that with the team of what I use.
So any other thoughts, Robin, as we wrap it up?
So yeah, just the last thing, I'm surprised nobody asked it today, but so I've sat in on a few of these now, and one of the big questions a lot of people have is how time consuming is this? You know, how much, you know, we're all busy. We all have our own stuff going on. It's like, how long is it going to take to put together and compile all this information? So I will say, you know, mystery shop is not, you're not going to do this at every dealership. Not every dealership needs to do a mystery shop. So you're obviously going to prioritize which stores you think that you can kind of do this with and ask permission and actually need this help. But from start to finish, you know, to start the mystery shop, obviously you'll let everything kind of bake for that 30 days. And to put together the results, I mean, once you do this a couple of times, it doesn't take that long. I would say probably, you know, 20 to 30 minutes, and then think critically about what comments you want to put in there and what you want to speak about when you go over the results. But I mean, if you're looking to do this for 90 days, you know, of analysis, then it's obviously going to take you a little bit longer to compile all that information. But don't be scared, I guess, is my advice, and just go ahead and just go for it and just try it. I've learned a lot, you know, just by trial and error.
Very good, Robin. Thank you. How about Brother Frank? Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
The only thing that I can expand on is what Robin just said. Take your time. What I do as a rule of thumb, now that I've got this template, is I am adding things as I get them. So I don't have to sit there and go through and build, which is time consuming. As you get the email, as you get the voicemail, add it to your presentation with your notes.
Good, good. Hey, Ann, you got to thank you, Frank. Ann, you said you had a question. Let's shoot away. Fire away.
So I guess you say some people are already out there doing this, but I thought there was a couple more components yet to put together. So what has to come together yet that's missing?
Well, you can do them right now, obviously, with what we've got. What we're going to do is, the slide deck. So you can, if you did one, if you got the biggest advice we can give is find a fairly friendly dealer that needs some help and work with that sales manager, general manager, and get it going. So you can, start compiling the results. But we'll have the slide deck for your findings, which you won't need for several weeks. That'll be coming. And everything else is just kind of enhancements, like the spam. I am working on a piece. Quite frankly, I've been traveling and whatnot. So it sounds like rationalization excuses, but we want to have a one-page handout that you can give to the decision maker that kind of explains the process. So we're going to have that ready. But you can do it with what we've got now. You've got sufficient information to get going. I would immediately start setting up a few phone numbers and emails, get that ready. But you can start firing away, Ann, and do the inquiries and that sort of thing. The other stuff are enhancements to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And you've got the
Kevin?
scorecard. The scorecard's the biggest piece to it. So, and you've got the scorecard already. So really, that's all you need at the end is just to present that with the dealer. So it's not sexy or anything, but it's a start.
Good. Was that Gil? You had a question?
Perfect. Kevin, this is Kelly Brown.
Hey, Kelly.
Can you hear
How
me?
long have you been on, man? How long have you been on?
I've been driving down the road. I haven't been able to go, online, but I've been driving around listening, and I just
were you on for the whole
so
thing? Okay.
Yeah, I've listened to the whole thing. Yeah, so far.
Oh, I'm glad
But
we
I
weren't
just
talking
wanted to-
bad about you. Huh?
Oh no, I'm glad you weren't either. But
That's good
I want to
stuff.
let you know
Yeah,
I've
what do
done
you got,
two.
Kelly?
I've done two so far, and I have a really good reception. It's been well received out here. Everybody's very enthusiastic, and thanks everybody for putting this together. It's such a great program, and I'm just like you guys. I set up my PowerPoint, and as information comes in, I cut and paste it every day. I check my Google Voice and then my mail.com, and then I just put it in each spreadsheet for that particular dealer. So to me, that's the quickest, easiest way to stay on top of it. Otherwise, you can get behind. I think So
Yeah, good point.
that's the best approach, I think.
Good.
The other thing
Good.
that I'd
Thank
like
you for
to see
joining
is-
us, brother.
Yeah,
Go
yeah. Well, just one last thing. I'd like to see something like, I've got a dealer that, yeah, they kind of did a good job, but here's what it should look like. If I had some PowerPoint slides that said, hey, this is what we would suggest that you might incorporate. So that's what I'd like to see to help me do my presentation. So that's it.
Okay. Good, man. Appreciate. Is anybody else out there on the phone only? In phone land? Cool beans. Well, Kelly, thank you.
Hey, Kevin, this is
Go
Drew again. One thing that would be helpful, I love what Robin did in her video, and her inquiry was what incentives are available. She recorded the time and date, on there. But if there's any other, questions or statements that have worked for you guys, because you want them responding to the questions. And, so if I had a few more of those as far as the inquiries or the, the lead that's going out, maybe a few more examples.
Yeah, I think one thing we're going to do too going forward is we're moving on I'll reveal this now. I'm going to move on with a new team, and we're going to build a second in the box piece called Selling in the Service Drive or Vehicle Exchange. So we got working with the leads on getting that team together. So we're going to go full bore forward. And then I think what we'll do from here on out is in community, anything you're doing, like Kelly, your experience, wear it out, man. Get on community, say this is what's working. I'll certainly talk to Frank, Darryl, and Robin about that request, Drew, but I think going forward, the community communication like we always do will probably good, and everybody build their own kind of database going forward. Be helpful probably. So good question. Good question.
That's a good feedback, Drew.
Good. All right. Thank you, Ray, Robin, and Frank again. Thank you. Brother Daryl's not here, but he's here in spirit. Contributed a lot. Everybody have a great night. Don't hesitate to call us, and happy shopping. Happy mystery shopping. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.